Every week, somewhere in the world, a new railway project is announced, a new tender is published, a new deadline is set, and somewhere, the decision maker needs to know exactly what it means. Welcome to Rail Compass, your compass for navigating global railway and metro project opportunities. This week, we are looking at, let's begin.
Every night, between midnight and 6 in the morning, freight trains cross the Istanbul Strait. Just 6 hours, one tunnel, 3 million tons per year. That is the entire rail freight capacity of the Bosphorus, the world's most strategically located waterway, connecting Europe to Asia. Meanwhile, trucks, 750,000 heavy vehicles crossing Istanbul every day, the most congested city in Europe, a bottleneck that costs Turkey an estimated $7 billion annually in logistics inefficiency. On March 31st, 2026, the World Bank approved a $2 billion loan. 6 multilateral development banks coordinated $6.75 billion. Total project cost, $8.3 billion. Project name, INRAIL. 127 kilometers of new electrified railway. 44 tunnels. 42 viaducts. The Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, already built with railway provision, as the Bosphorus crossing, and a freight capacity uplift from 3 million to 50 million tons per year. A 17-fold increase. Construction tenders are launching this year. In the end, EXT 8 minutes, I will show you exactly what is being built, how it is being procured, and the one strategic dimension of this project that makes it unlike any other railway investment currently active in the world. Let me start with the problem, because understanding what INRAIL fixes tells you why 6 international development banks moved simultaneously to fund it. Istanbul is the only city in the world that sits on 2 continents. The Bosphorus, 30 kilometers long, 700 meters wide at its narrowest, divides Turkey's Asian and European railway networks. The only rail connection, the Marmari Immersed Tube Tunnel, opened in 2013. Marmari was designed primarily for passenger services, commuter and intercity rail. It was not designed for heavy freight. The tunnel's gradient, the signaling system, the platform configurations, all optimized for passengers. Freight trains can use it, but only during the maintenance window between midnight and 6 a.m. The consequence, Turkey's national rail freight network is effectively broken at Istanbul. Trains from Central Asia on the Trans-Caspian Middle Corridor arrive in Asia and must be offloaded onto road to cross the city. Trains from Europe arrive in Halkali and must wait. The result is mode shift to trucks, higher logistics costs, and higher emissions. And the strategic stakes are growing. The Trans-Caspian Middle Corridor, the rail route connecting China to Europe through Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, is carrying increasing volume as an alternative to the Trans-Siberian. The Iraq Development Road, a planned rail and highway corridor connecting Basra to Turkey and onward to Europe, would feed directly into this crossing. INRAIL does not just solve a Turkish logistics problem. It completes the uninterrupted overland rail connection across Turkey for the entire Eurasian trade corridor. Now let me walk you through what is actually being built. 127 kilometers of new double-track electrified railway, designed for mixed passenger and freight operation at up to 160 kilometers per hour, fully signalized. The alignment runs from Kayarova Station in Kocaeli Province on the Asian side, westward across Istanbul, crossing the Bosphorus via the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, terminating at Katalka on the European side. The engineering program is extraordinary. 58.44 kilometers of tunnels, 5 TBM twin-bore tunnel drives totaling 37.1 kilometers, 20 NATM tunnels totaling 21.34 kilometers, and 15 cut-and-cover tunnels totaling nearly 3 kilometers. Approximately 47% of the route underground. 42 viaducts with combined length 22.1 kilometers. 21 underpasses and overpasses. 37 culverts. The Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, Turkey's third Bosphorus crossing, opened in 2016, was built with pre-designated space for a double-track railway. That foresight means the most expensive element, the Bosphorus crossing itself, is already constructed. INRAIL uses it. 2 new airport connections. Istanbul Airport on the European side. Sabiha Gökçen Airport on the Asian side. For the first time, Turkey's 2 busiest airports will be connected by rail, with each other, and with a national rail network. Electrification. 25 kV AC overhead catenary. 3 154-25 kV traction substations along the route. Power from Turkey's 154 kV TIA transmission network. The civil works are structured into 4 design and build contract lots. FIDIC Yellow Book, 2nd edition, 2017. Construction tenders expected later in 2026. Let me walk through the 4 procurement lots, because each has a distinct engineering character. Lot 1, Çayırova Kurtulmuş, Asyan Side Eastern Section. Approximately 27.8 kilometers double track plus 916 m single track connection. Commences with a triangular connection to existing railway lines near Çayırova. Includes a new underground station serving Sabiha Gökçen Airport. Much of the route in tunnel. This is the starting point of the project on the Asian side. Lot 2, Kurt Dogmas to Alabahadir. Asian side central section. Approximately 25.6 kilometers double track. Extensive tunneling with a large number of viaducts and bridges. Dense engineering program through Istanbul's northern hinterland. Lot 3, Alabahadir to Mithit Pesa, the Bosphorus crossing lot. Approximately 32 kilometers double track. Covers Asian and European approaches to the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge and the bridge itself. This is the centerpiece of the entire project, the lot that carries the iconic crossing. Lot 4, Mithit Pesa to Catalca, European side western section. Approximately 37.8 kilometers double track, plus 2 kilometers single track connections. Major TBM tunnel drive, NATM and cut and cover sections. Viaducts and bridges. Connects to Istanbul Airport and terminates at Catalca, where it interfaces with the Halkali-Kapakule high-speed railway line. Plus, a separate signaling and telecoms contract covering the full 127 kilometers route. Procurement under a separate package. The financing structure behind INRAIL is as remarkable as the engineering. And understanding it matters for any contractor or supplier positioning for this project. Because MDB procurement means specific rules, specific standards, and specific competitive dynamics. 6 multilateral development banks. 1 coordinated package. $6.75 billion. World Bank. $2 billion. Lead financier and coordinator. Approved March 31st, 2026. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Participating. Asian Development Bank. Participating. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Participating. Islamic Development Bank. Participating. OPEC Fund for International Development. participating. Total project cost, approximately $8.3 billion. MDB financing, $6.75 billion. Turkish government counterpart funding, the remainder. The World Bank is applying a single, streamlined procurement approach, coordinating across all 6 financiers to avoid the complexity of 6 different procurement frameworks. That is significant. It means one procurement process, one set of standards, one bidding procedure. World Bank procurement guidelines apply throughout. For international contractors and suppliers, this is familiar territory. World Bank procurement is transparent, internationally competitive, and well documented. The pre-qualification requirements and evaluation criteria will be published. There are no surprises. Let me talk about the technical challenges because this project is genuinely demanding. Challenge 1. Tunneling volume and complexity. 44 tunnels. 61 kilometers of underground works. 5 TBM twin-bore drives across mixed Istanbul geology, which includes limestone, clay, fill material, and transition zones. Each TBM drive requires a parallel escape tunnel with cross passages every 500 meters. The program management required to sequence 44 tunnels across a 127 kilometers corridor is extraordinary. Challenge 2. The Bosphorus interface. The Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge has pre-designated rail space, but integrating the railway into an operational motorway bridge, managing the approach tunnels on both sides, and coordinating with bridge operations creates a unique engineering challenge that has no direct precedent in international rail procurement. Challenge 3. Excavated material management. With 58 kilometers of tunnel and associated deep excavations in a 16 million person city, the volume of excavated material is enormous. The World Bank's environmental documents specifically highlight this as a central project risk. Where does 50 million cubic meters of spoil go in Istanbul? Challenge 4. Climate resilience. Half the alignment runs underground, specifically to reduce exposure to extreme heat, flooding, strong winds, and wildfires. Istanbul's climate resilience requirements are written into the project design. All surface infrastructure must be designed for future climate scenarios. The procurement opportunity is extensive. Let me map it. Civil works for design and build lots. The largest single opportunity by value. 5 TBM drives, 20 NATM tunnels, 42 viaducts, underground stations. World Bank procurement, internationally competitive. Contractors with experience in complex urban underground construction. Webuild, Bouygues, Vinci, Acciona, Strabag, Limac, Callion, Colin are the credible candidates. TBM supply. 5 twin-bore drives totaling 37.1 kilometers. Multiple machines required simultaneously. Heronect, CREG, CRC Chai, Robbins. Lead times are critical. Machines must be ordered before civil contract award if the program is to hold. Electrification, 25 kV AC, 127 kilometers, 3 traction substations. Based on comparable projects, 300 to 500 million euros. Elecner, Cobra IS, Siemens Energy, ABB, Schneider Electric. Signaling and telecoms, separate contract, full 127 kilometers. EDCS Level 2 for interoperability with Turkey's national network. Alstom, Zeeman. Hitachi Rail, Thales. Stations, Istanbul Airport integration on the European side. Sabiha Gökçen on the Asian side, plus intermediate stations. Significant architectural and fit-out opportunity. Professional services. The World Bank has already invited expressions of interest in construction supervision consultant, covering all 4 civil lots plus signaling, and project implementation oversight consultant. These are active now. And the supply chain depth. 44 tunnels means tunnel lining segments, waterproofing, drainage, ventilation, fire suppression, emergency systems, all at scale. I promised you the one strategic dimension that makes INRAIL unlike any other railway project currently active in the world. It is not the scale. At $8.3 billion, it is large but not uniquely so. It is not the tunneling. At 61 kilometers, it is complex, but comparable projects exist. It is not even the MDB financing. Coordinated multi-fund rail projects are not unusual. It is the freight capacity multiplier. When INRAIL opens, Bosphorus rail freight capacity increases from 3 million to 50 million tons per year, a 17-fold increase on a single corridor. No other infrastructure project currently in procurement anywhere in the world delivers a freight capacity multiplier of that magnitude on a strategic trade corridor of this importance. The Trans-Caspian Middle Corridor, China to Europe through Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, is growing in volume. The Iraq Development Road, when it opens, feeds into this crossing. Turkey's EU export corridor run, through it. The number of trade flows that converge at this single point is extraordinary. That is why 6 of the world's major development banks moved simultaneously. Not because INRAIL is a good local transport investment, because it is a piece of global trade infrastructure, and a return on investment is measured in the economic output of the Eurasian corridor it unlocks, not just the Turkish logistics savings it delivers. For a contractor or supplier who wins a package on INRAIL, you are not building a Turkish railway. You are building part of the logistical backbone of Eurasia. Here's what you do now. 1. Go to ygm.u8b.gov.tr, Turkey's Directorate General of Infrastructure Investments, AIIGM. The expressions of interest for the supervision consultant roles are already active. Construction tender advance notices are published. 2. World Bank Procurement Portal, projects.worldbank.org. Search P 509952. All procurement documentation will be published there. 3. If you're a TBM manufacturer or specialist tunneling contractor, the machine procurement timeline is independent of the civil contract award. Engage with bidding consortia now. 4. Subscribe to Rail Compass. Next Thursday, the full INRAIL supply chain map. Every system category. Why Istanbul's geological variability creates a specific challenge for TBM selection. And the one professional services role where the MDB procurement framework creates an incumbency advantage that almost no one is talking about. Istanbul INRAIL, $8.3 billion. Tenders launching this year. The Bosphorus is about to become the world's busiest rail freight crossing.